Hey, it's Kim. Thanks for stopping by today's video where I'll be talking about my reading journal. The ins and the outs, all about my reading journal. I'll be showing you a flip of my 2021 entries and showing you how I'm going to set up for 2022. After having done this for a little bit, for about a year, I think a little over a year, I've learned what I like, what I don't like, what I need, what I don't need. So I'm going to show you all of those things and walk you through those changes that I'm making for 2022. To give you a bit of info, I do have it housed in an A5 Stylogy, which I'm using. It's a full year Stylogy, but actually I anticipate this one book lasting me about 4, maybe even 5 years with the way that I have it set up. I didn't want something that was just one journal or one book for each year. I just wanted something that I could reference over a few years. So I'm going to flip the camera around and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Here we are. Here is my reading journal. So it's housed in this Moterm A5 notebook cover. And I did explain that in my 2022 planner lineup. So that's what this is in. This is the color taupe. So it's housed in here, and the actual journal itself is a Stylogy. So an A5 Stylogy, the 365 version. The cover is red. I don't know if that matters, but I keep both sides of the cover tucked into this. And I just got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Okay. So I keep both sides tucked into the Moterm cover. So when I open up, you can see that I kind of gave it a little bit of personality. I found some images on maybe Pinterest, maybe Canva, maybe I just Googled them. I'm not even sure anymore because I did this original setup back in January of 2021. So I found some images, printed them out on sticker paper, and they are stuck all throughout the journal itself, just so that it gives me, you know, reading vibes, library, journaling type of vibes. So that's what we have here. And then this is just the images of the book covers that I've read for 2021. I put these all into onto my computer and then printed them out onto sticker paper. So I do still need to fill out that spread, so we're gonna do that together. And this is a little vellum envelope that I made, and in here I'll keep things that I print out on Canva or whatever else that I print out on sticky paper or sticker paper until I'm ready to use it. So that's why that's there. And then just this little journaling card from Cloth and Paper, and this journaling card is also from Cloth and Paper. So as soon as we open up, I have like a title page, and I just put this together using some craft paper and a label that actually comes on the Midori notebook. So I stuck that here, and my intention is to have this, like I said, follow me or follow my reading journey for a few years. So we start in January 2021. I don't know when I'm going to finish it. We'll see. This is going to be volume 1. I didn't know if I wanted to stamp that or not, and of course from the library of me, but I just didn't finish filling that in. These vellums that you're going to see are also from images that I found online that I just printed out to add some decorative elements. And then these graphics are from You and I Graphics on Etsy. So I just printed those out on sticker paper as well, and I just have those layered throughout. So the setup of my reading journal, and I got a few things in here ready for later, but the setup for my reading journal is to span a few years. I was looking at all of the pages that I used for 2021, and I think I'll probably be able to get about 4 years out of this entire A5 notebook, which will be good. So that's the general or overall setup. In the beginning, I have a few introductory pages that I'm using for general items that are not date or year specific, and then I get into the sections for each year. So when we flip into here, so this page is, or these 2 pages are for my index, and I have been struggling with how I want to index the information on here. I don't even know if I need an index. So that's where I'm kind of stuck. Originally I was like, well, I'm gonna index everything alphabetically, but in order for that to work, I would have to index it after I'm completely finished with the notebook, and that just is dumb. Or at least that's not serving me while I'm using the notebook. I also don't really know if I'll even need to have an index. So this page is blank for right now. Then I had the idea to have each year, you know, just separate it out and have the books that I read within that year listed in the corresponding page number. And that's likely the way I would do this. If you have any suggestions for a good way to index this information, let me know. Or if you just think an index is dumb, I don't really need an index. That's the way I'm leaning. I'm leaning towards I probably don't even need an index, but it's here just in case. So then we get into the goods, and another image that I just printed out on some vellum. And then this opens into some lists. So on the left, I have a book series tracker, and you'll see a few of these sticky notes throughout just for some ideas that I was thinking of, things that I wanted to include and still want to. This is like a growing process. So not only am I entering the books that I read on a continuous basis, I'm also putting in information or lists that I might want to have on a continual basis. So I feel like it'll never be finished until I'm done with the entire notebook. So on the left, I have a book series tracker, and I believe I have enough spaces to allow for 42 or 43 actual series. So my idea, and I really do like series, I appreciate them. So my idea is just to write the title of the series and the author, and then have a box to color in for each book of the series that I've read so far. And I don't know if you can tell, but after I started filling this in, I realized that it would probably make more sense if I filled in the boxes starting from the right and working towards the left. Because what if the author adds more books to the series? So this one is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this one has 10 boxes that I would have to fill in. But if she decides to add another book this year or whatever, I can make the numbers go this way, or, you know, grow them out towards the left. So that's how I should be doing it. And I started with, after each book that I did read, I had started by putting the number of, you know, what the book was. So 1, 2, 3, yada yada yada. But like I said, I think I should be counting from that direction going that way. So for the ones that I fill in after this, that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start making the boxes, but then coloring them in from right to left. And I don't know if I even want to number them. We'll see. So those are the series that I currently have. And then I did decide to put a TBR list, which means to be read, a TBR list in here because I have books that I completely forgot about. I have a lot of books, digital copies of them that, honestly, half of them, I don't even know where they came from. I don't know why I have them. I don't know if I'm going to read them. So there were a few that I left off of this list, and I'm not even sure that everything on this list I'm actually going to get to. But I have a TBR list for the ones that I have the actual ebooks for, and then a physical, or a list of physical books that I have that I am definitely going to read. Every now and then I do go through some spurts of inspiration where I feel like buying a bunch of books. It may be because I want to buy some books by underrepresented authors. It may be because I want to buy a book, I don't know, from a bookstore, like a brick and mortar bookstore, like a mom and pop kind of shop, not a larger chain store, just to support them. So there are a few different reasons why I actually have physical books, but for the most part, the only physical books I really buy are educational. And not normally fiction books. So these are all fiction. Yeah, I think these are all fiction. There are some autobiographical books in here as well. But for the most part, I don't typically buy fiction books. I will download those. I don't even buy like the electronic version. I get them from my library. My library has an app where I can borrow the books for about a 3-week period, hold on to them or whatever, or I will borrow them from the actual library. So I'll go to a physical library, imagine that. So I'll go to the actual library and get the books and read them that way. But for the most part, I do not buy physical books that are fiction. So that's what that list is. And then this spread, my original intention was to have this for my favorite quotes that I find in books, and I waffled a little bit, which is why it's not currently set up. So I waffled with that idea because I am a person who likes quotes. I consider myself an aphorist. I like aphorisms. So I do actually like to collect them, but I was thinking I would much prefer to do that in one notebook as opposed to just having quotes here. But I think it would still be really cool to have quotes from the books that I've actually read in here, not necessarily from people or, you know, from inspirational things that I come across, but the quotes from actual characters in the book. So I think I am going to keep that this spread, and I envision that I'm going to print those out onto sticker paper and maybe make them all look different as time goes on. So from 2021, I have 5 that I have saved that I'm going to print out and put those onto here. So I'll start that soon enough. So I do think this is going to be favorite quotes, but I can imagine that this will get really full really fast. But we'll see. Who knows? If I really like it, then I'll just expand and add another quotes page somewhere back here as time goes on. The next page, the next couple of pages I reserved for reading challenges. But as I've gotten into this whole reading journal thing, I realized I probably don't like most challenges because I'm very much a mood reader. So I'm going to read whatever the heck I want, when I want, no matter what genre or anything of the sort. So those challenges that say, well, read 3 of this type of book, 2 of that type of book, 1 of that, nope, that's not for me. I'm going to read what I want when I want. But I figured an alphabet challenge would be a good one for me. So the way this works, and it has no title, I do need to put a header up there still. Again, one of the other unfinished areas. So the way this works, for every letter of the alphabet, you're going to write down a book that you read that starts with that letter. Of course, we disregard the word the or a and just use the next word in the title. For instance, the henna artist, I have that under H as opposed to being under T, of course. You know, grammar. But that's what I have this for, and these are the books from 2021 that filled in this whole spread. So I imagine this will fill up really quickly. I don't know how much fulfillment I'll really get from this challenge, but I like to look at it. It's a nice spread to look at. And I reserved these pages also for other reading challenges. But like I said, challenges really aren't my thing. I'm thinking I want to do a list of classic books that I really want to read. And maybe that's what I'll put on these pages and things of that sort. So other lists about books that I want to read. So now we open up and we get into the section for 2021. So all of that was what I would consider the general section. And now we get into the pages for 2021. Again, an image that I found online and printed out on sticker paper, and then some vellums laid over top of a U&I graphic that I printed on sticker paper as well. And that's where we get into this opening page for 2021, which will be the book covers that I read throughout the year. And we're going to go through this together to put these on. Now, I kind of screwed up the title on this page, and I'm okay with that. I hope you are too. But I stamped something here and then messed it up, and then I needed to cover it up. So I covered it up with this piece of paper, and then I tried to stamp 21 and then write 20 through it. Looks a little wonky. I'm good with it. It's okay. But then I realized that I was going to write like of in cursive, but it doesn't quite line up. So I got to figure out how I'm putting of in there. Maybe I'll use these same raised stickers to put of there. We'll see. But this is where that spread is going, and we're going to do this together. But I'll walk you through the rest of 2021 before we get there. So then this next page, the page I use all the time, is the list of books I've read in 2021. So I have a column for the book and the author, the number of pages, the rating that I gave it. If it's a series, I note here the book of the series. So for instance, book 3 of 10, I'll note here the day I started and the day I finished. This page I reference all the time. All the time. So even though there might be times or weeks or months where I don't pick up this reading journal necessarily and really fill in all the spreads back here, I will always be updating this list right here. And I also use the Goodreads app on my phone to track the books that I've read and anything like that, and my ratings. I don't really do reviews on Goodreads, just ratings. So here we get into another spread that I really do like, and it's information that my brain likes to see. So over here on the left, I have a bar graph showing the page counts that I've read for the month, all through 2021. And then down here, I have a total for each month, total of the number of pages that I read for each month, and then a total for the year. And in 2021, I read 9,059 pages. And on this left or this right hand side, I have the months of the year going across the top, and then the days of the month down the side, and just a little dot noting the days that I did read. So I do like to capture this information to see how often I'm reading, what I'm reading. I'm actually surprised by this graph because I assumed I would read more in the winter months, like over here, but it really looks like I read a lot more in the warmer months. And I think you can kind of see that also on the graph here. A lot more dots there. There are times where I barely read, like from mid-March through like mid-April. August. Why don't I have anything here for August? I did read. I read 648 pages, which is almost the second least number of books I read. So I imagine I didn't read a lot in August at all. So there's that. So that's information that I do really like. And then we get into the monthly spreads for 2021. So as the year started, I had great intentions. I wanted to do these cute little spreads, and I liked it at the time, but I feel like it maybe required a bit more effort sometimes, and that's why I didn't always come back to do this. Maybe. Over here on the left side, this was the calendar, and I wanted to kind of see how, or get a better visual of how long it took me to read each book. So I do have a color key here. So one book is the lighter color, one book is the darker color, and I'm seeing how long it took me to read these books. I think I do like this information, but I would prefer to see it in a different format, and I'm going to try that out for 2022. And on the right over here, I had some monthly stats for pages read, which I'm already capturing on this page over here. And then the days read, which I am capturing here, but I'm not really tallying. So I found that I didn't need this. Also, I couldn't even fill in this one because I was missing half of January for some reason. I feel like, I don't know if it wasn't on my tracker in my planner. I think that was it. It wasn't on my tracker, so I didn't really know exactly which days I had read. And then I have a section here for my favorite quotes, and then a little blurb about a recap of how I liked the books, or how I felt like my reading was going for the month. And I did find this to be helpful because in January I was trying to read more. My goal was to spend more time reading for pleasure, because a lot of the times in years previous I would be reading for informational purposes, or to, you know, learn a new thing, which is fine, but I didn't really spend a lot of time just reading for enjoyment. Also, I found that when I read, I forgot the books. I had no idea what happened. You know, if it was like a few months later, I had no clue what happened, if I even liked the book. So I felt like that was almost time wasted. So I wanted to do this project to help me remember what the books are about, to help me appreciate different authors, or things that I could compare amongst a few different books, that type of thing, just to write out my thoughts on how I really felt about the books. And that has proven beneficial for me. It has helped me to maintain this goal that I've had to read more throughout the year. And when I started 2021, my goal was to read 24 books for the year. And I didn't break that down by month because I felt like that would be too limiting. That would be telling myself read 2 books a month. Whereas I knew that there might be months where I would read 1 book. And then there might be months where I read 4 books. So I just wanted to give it a broad goal, and that was 24 books for the year, and I did meet that goal. I read 28 books for the year of 2021, so I did really well. So after this monthly overview kind of spread, then we get into the spreads for each particular book. And in the beginning, I was going really well. I had the little photos and things, and I did a little blurb about my thoughts for the book. And I did continue the blurbs about my thoughts of the books throughout the entire year. However, my inspiration with printing out these images and things that stood out to me from the books, that waned over the year. I think by March, I was just over it. Just didn't happen anymore. But while I was doing it, I did really like it. So I just don't know if this is something I will continue in 2022. I've also realized that I don't need to have one full spread, like a 2-page spread for each book. 1 page for each book is absolutely fine. And that's the way my brain works best. So here we get into March, and you see that little section where I had the stats and the wrap up. I didn't even do that. And this is a 2-page spread. Didn't need to be. It's kind of like missing, you know, some stuff. So that's what this is. And that's how I kind of, here you're seeing where I kind of fell off on a lot of the things that I had intended to do in each book review and for the months. And then we get into April, and I didn't even do that little side over here with the favorite quotes. I have my days read down there, and then just 1 page for each book that I finished for the month. So even though here you can see there were 3 books for the month of April, I only write the reviews for the books that I actually finished in the month. So this last one I obviously finished in May. So that's how that works out. And we kind of fell off as the year went on. But like I said, I have the reviews for all of the books that I read throughout the year in here. There are just a few things like some ratings that I need to put over here. I don't even have the little image for this one, the book cover image for this one, because I couldn't find it. I don't know what happened to it. And then every time I sat down on my computer, I forgot to come back and print it. And that's why I have this little flag here to let me know that that one isn't finished. But that's kind of how all of this pans out over the course of the year. So now we get into 2022, and this is the section that's dedicated to 2022. So I'm going to be doing the same things that I had in the front of 2021, but before we get there, let's finish this spread really quickly together, and I'll likely speed through this. And I do want to put these in order. I'm sorry, I think this is the order. Yeah. And I'm not going to make this perfect at all. It's not that serious for me. So I'm not like measuring. I'm not marking out anything. Just going to let the cards fall where they may, or let the cutouts fall where they may. So I'm going to attempt to make sure that everything is well lined up. But if it isn't, then it just isn't. And will it bother me later that these are not even? Yeah, probably. That's a risk I'm willing to take. So here we are. 2021 is filled in. All the books of 2021. I still need to finish the title, but as far as I'm concerned, that is a wrap. It's a wrap on all of my books, the 28 books of 2021. And then I do use this Midori index clip to always come back to my list for 2021. Like I said, I'm always turning to this page to mark down things or to reference stuff. So that's what we have there. So even though there are a few items, like I said, I need to put something in for May. What was, oh, the image for the book. We'll go on and set up for 2022. So what I'd like to do is start off with like an intro image that I'm going to do the same way I did. So So just like I have this intro page for 2021, I want to do the same thing for 2022. And then we're going to, so I'm also going to do an overview of the covers that I read for 2022, because I really do like this page, even though it's a lot of color. And yeah, it's kind of scary sometimes. I do really like seeing all the book covers. Makes me feel very accomplished. So I'm going to do the same thing for 2022. And I didn't mention it, but my goal for 2022 is going to be 30 books for the year. I've done 3 so far. So we're going to set this kind of page, this spread, and of course it remains empty until, you know, the year is over. But I'm still going to set it up and lay down the designs or whatever I can think of. So we're going to do that together. We're also going to do my books read in 2021. There may be another list I want to add for 2021, or another form of tracking. We'll see. I'm definitely going to do my page counts and my reading tracker. Did I say for 2021? I meant for 2022. Okay, so here we are, another day. We walked through 2021 and setting up the, where is it? The 2-page spread, if I can find it. There we go. Of all the books that I read in the month, in the year, I should say. So that was a lot of fun. And then I said that I was gonna kind of do some prep to start setting up for 2022, and that we were gonna do that together. Well, it's like a week, maybe a little bit more than a week later, and I didn't come back. So there was just lighting issues, and then it was too dark to come back that same day. And then this is something that I like to work on like in the evenings when I have a bit of free time and I'm just lounging, watching television. So I really just started working on it again and started setting up for 2021 or 2022 all by myself. So I'll show you what I've done so far for 2022, for the 2022 setup. So this was the last book that I read in 2021. I still didn't even write the review. I wrote it in, I'm not even sure if I remember saying this. So I have this little notebook that I was writing my reviews in. So I did write it in there, but I just haven't transferred it to here as of yet. So I do need to do that. But like I said, this is something that I like to work on in the evenings when I have some free time, some downtime, and I just want to be a little creative. This is one of my other creative outlets. So it's not something that I feel like I have to maintain or keep up to date as I would some of the planners that I use, for instance. With this, I'm just documenting my reading journey, and it doesn't matter how long it takes for me to document that reading journey. So, which is also part of the reason why I like the idea of having multiple years in one book. It's something I can look back on over the years and just sift through and enjoy. So this is the opening spread for 2022. I found some images on Pinterest, I believe, and I pretty much just printed them out onto sticker paper, and I stuck one in there. I have a few more that I found. I don't know where I'll use them, if I'll use them. I don't have sources for them, so I'm not going to link anything. I'm using them for my own personal use. So that's what I did, and this is the opening page for 2022. I like to use something that looks like a place that is calming, relaxing, a place I would want to sit down and read a book. So that's basically what this is. And then there's a vellum, and I want to label for 2022. This is kind of temporary. It's just on a little piece of a sticky paper until I decide or determine what I'm going to label 2022 with. Or that could just stay there forever. Who knows? So then we open up, and this is going to be my books of 2022 spread. So just like the one where I have the little images of the book covers for 2021, I'm going to do the same thing for 2022. There really isn't much I can lay out here before all of the books are read, because I don't know how many there are going to be. So I'm going to want to, you know, space them out evenly. My goal for the year is 30 books, but what if I read more? What if I read less? So I want to make sure I have enough space for everything that I want to put on here. So this is something I would set up once the year is over. So then we get into the collection or the spreads for the year. So similar to 2021, I have a list of all the books that I'll be reading in this year. And we are currently in March as I'm filming this, and this is when you're going to see this as well. So these are all of the books so far. I'm up to the 6th book. There is one in here that I just abandoned. We'll talk about that later. But I'm on my 6th book at the moment. And then this is a spread that I wanted to include for this year. I know I explained that there were certain things that I want to take out from my experience of doing this from 2021, some things I wanted to add. And this is one of the ones I wanted to add, which is an anticipated releases spread. And it's very basic. It says anticipated releases, and then I use a stamp for each of the months on the sides over here. January through June over here, and then July through December here. So I filled in for the first few months of 2022, and I still need to do some research to look and see if there are releases, for instance, for some of the books that I have in my series tracker. I believe there are a couple that are coming out this year related to the series tracker. There might be some other new authors that I hear about as the year progresses. So I want to keep all of that on this spread so I have some place to reference it. I think this is going to be extremely helpful for me for this year. And then these two spreads are exactly the same as I had them for 2021. So my page counts for each month with the totals down here, as well as my daily reading tracker. I wanted some place to see it, an overall kind of view, January through December, and this one is pretty straightforward and easy enough for me to analyze. And then I left this 2-page spread blank because I'm not sure if I want to include anything here or not. But after this, we jump into the months. So now, like I said, it's March. We're early March. These are the books that I read for January. So I was trying to do a little something. I searched on Instagram, some images on Instagram, and I will tag the inspiration that I got these from, these layouts. But that was pretty much what inspired me to try this. Now, I feel like if you are not a person who doesn't read every single day, visually, this might not be as gratifying, I think. Also, if you're not a person who reads a lot of books in 1 month, this also is not very visually gratifying. But I want to try this out for the first couple of months to see how I like it. So on the left-hand side, this is basically a color code for each of the books, each of the 3 books that I read in the month of January, and I'm marking here with the same color, or this corresponding color, the days on which I read that book. So I'm not a person who tends to overlap books. I don't read more than 1 book at the same time, unless it's like an educational book, then I'll do that. Like a nonfiction and a fiction book at the same time, I can do that, but I won't typically read like 2 fiction books at the same time, or even 2 nonfiction. So there's not a lot of overlap. I don't know how this graph will play out as the year progresses. We will see. Same thing kind of for this. So I do like this spread, and this is for daily page counts. My tracker here up at the top, you can't even really read it that well, but it's in increments of 10 pages. So it goes from 10 pages up to 180 pages, and these are the days of the month over here, and I'm marking with the same color code, how many days or how many pages I've read in each book on the specific day. This I like to look at. I do like to see it. I feel like it works no matter how many books you read. And it gives you an idea of how many pages you're reading per day. So it goes along with this reading tracker. So not only am I seeing what days of the month I'm reading, but I can see exactly how much I'm reading on each day. I know that I tend to read a lot on Mondays and Tuesdays, which may be odd. I don't know. But in hindsight, I think I do want to put the days of the week down the side as well. I just have the dates and not the actual days of the week. I'm hoping you can see that. And I need to total up the number of pages here, and I'll write that total there. So I haven't finished that yet. So there are a few places that are a little open, a little empty. Same for my final reviews for the books that I did read in January. So I also saw this idea. So I was in Canva and I was, printing out the book covers like I did for 2021. And I was like, why not just print out the title, the stars for the rating, so I can just have it all on this one little sticker. I basically just printed them out on sticker paper and then cut them out for each book. And I thought that was a good idea. I saw something similar to this, and I'll see if I can find that inspo pic and tag it here for you. But as I was doing that, I just went ahead and printed the other ones for all of the other books that I have in the lineup at the moment. And I still need to fill in the actual reviews for this, which is, again, something I would do at night watching TV while I'm just relaxing. So then this is the layout for February, and I kind of got stuck. I kind of got stuck here. I'm gonna finish this and then flip you through. But the reason I got stuck is because this was the book that I started in February, and it took me forever to make any progress in this book. And it's one of the first books, I think maybe ever, that I've actually abandoned before I finished reading it. I just couldn't finish it. I didn't know if it was me, like maybe I was just in a reading funk or what, or maybe it was the book. I checked in with a friend of mine who reads like 1,000 books a year, and she had read this one, and she said it wasn't me. She said it was the book. So, so she actually told me the ending. She told me what happened, and yeah, I don't regret stopping the book. Now, my thing is, though, the reason why I got stuck is because I still want to track what days I was reading. Because what happened is I stopped reading this book. I took like a week and a half off, and then I went on to another book. So this was the second book that I read in February, and I absolutely loved this book, and I flew through it. So I wasn't in a funk. I don't know. I just wasn't into this book. So I think I'm going to document this book. And I'm going to document what days of the month I read it. I'm going to document how many pages I read each day. I think I only made it like a third of the way through in this book. But I'm not even going to bother doing a review or writing anything like that. But I think it might be a good idea to have like a spread of the ones we didn't finish throughout the month. So remember, or throughout the year. So remember, I have this 2-page spread. I could do something like that and then just categorize all the ones that I abandoned throughout the year. But like I said, this is the first book I've ever done that with. So I just hope to pick better books in the future. I don't know if that's even worth doing. I'm definitely not going to waste my time writing a review on that. And here we are at the final flip through for my 2022 reading journal. If you have made it this far through the video, I truly appreciate you. So we have the opening spread for 2022, and then we get into the 2-page spread that I'm going to use for the book covers of all the books I've read for the year. Next up is the list of books read in 2022, along with their ratings, whether or not they're in a series. And then over on the right is my anticipated releases tracking spread. Then there's my page counts from January through December, as well as my daily reading tracker for January through December. Following that, we get right into the monthly spreads. As you can see, I added a little bit of washi to kind of jazz it up. I still do need to tally up the daily page counts for the monthly overviews, but I'll do that at a later date. I've gone ahead and added all of the reviews for the books that I've read thus far. You know, if you don't want any spoilers, do not zoom in because there might be some in there. But you can see I kind of added some decorative elements or some little pictures to remind me of what happened in some of the books. For February, I did go ahead and track that book that I wasn't a huge fan of. I just kind of wanted to see what days I was reading throughout the month of February. And it's kind of light as compared to the previous months. And I added the review for the one book I did finish in February. And over on the right, I'll add some more decorative elements for this book. And I think I'm going to do that for the ones that are high up on the list of my favorites. I'll add in those decorative elements. For March, I started in with the one audiobook I'm currently reading, and also over for the page count spread for March, I tried to add in something that would allow me to track the number of hours I'll be listening to the audiobook. I'm not sure how that'll play out by month end, but we'll see how to make it work in conjunction with the actual page counts for the physical books. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. I truly hope it was helpful for someone. If you're thinking about starting a reading journal, but maybe you don't want to go crazy heavy into the bullet journal, decorating each page type of thing, maybe this is something that would be great for you. I do feel like it's more of a minimalist approach to having a reading journal, and I think that's what's best for me. I started out 2021 with a lot of good intentions, a lot of high hopes, you know, thinking I'm gonna do all of this deco and everything else, but really reality sank in, and I pared it down to like a minimal type of reading journal that fits perfectly for me. Again, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.